So, have you recently watched the video that just a man was burned in Hong Kong
Mm-hmm.
by protesters?
Mm-hmm.
Not as your not as you originally think that these bad things are just done by police.
Yeah, especially with social media here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of pro Hong Kong media.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that too because even I'm playing in wall, and I met some American. Their name just like support Hong Kong or free Hong Kong, and even when I'm with another guy, and because my name is like a Chinese name or something, and they just said to me, a free Hong Kong, even in games. I mean, yeah, America has some freedom in speech, and people like to express their own opinions. But actually, in my view, this speech freedom is limited. It's limited by the knowledge you received, because you didn't receive the enough message to let you give a good judgment. The media is controlled by some guys. They want to lead the people's mind. And that's a long story because China and America, they are in trade war right now, and America, some American, they want to make some mess in China, and Hong Kong is the perfect place to make this mess. There's another city called Macau, do you know? It's also another city that was dominated by Spanish, and Hong Kong used to be dominated by British. But they both use the one country but two policies. But now Macau is very developed, and they are stable. The point is, when the Spanish left, they didn't left some traps in Macau. They didn't change law, or not like the British. Before they left, they know they will give Hong Kong back to China, and they changed a lot of laws to give Hong Kong more freedom to just left some traps to let them fight with China, the mainland of China. But the Spanish left and give back Macau to China, and they didn't do anything else. And Macau now is very good and stable. But Hong Kong now, it's like a demon city. Like everyone in China now, first they were shocked by why people in Hong Kong are so impressive. No, impressive, aggressive. And now they are like hating these people because they are doing the wrong thing. It's a little far away.
This all stems from an incident that happened, I don't know the exact time, but a man murdered his girlfriend.
Yeah, in Taiwan.
And
that man is a Hong Konger, and he came back Hong Kong, but he did the criminal in Taiwan, and so they can't judge him guilty. So they want to build, not build, just to fix the law to, I think, fix the law to keep people safer, like the bad guy to be judged.
But the people in Hong Kong are afraid that that China will take advantage of these laws.
Yeah, they think China. They think the communism is evil. That's because their education book were made by themselves. It's not by China. Or I can say these books were made by some guy. They hate China. They hate communists. So they educate the new generation of Hong Kong. China is an evil country. Communism is evil.
Even growing up here in the United States, that's what we're raised to believe as well, is communism is evil.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the freedoms that we have here. And I don't necessarily know if communism would be a good thing.
Yeah, actually, communism is good or is evil. Actually, it doesn't matter. What matters is China matters right now. So the world or the Western world, they need to give a concept of China. What China should be like. Should be very good to us, or should be evil that we need to resist them. Because China is now the second developed country in the world, just behind America. China is the second big country, not only in military, economics, and the technology. So they need to give it a concept, and they want to restrict the China because they don't want China to be number one. So they need to give it an excuse to resist China.
No, I see.
Yeah. So let me give you another example, like Alabama, that country.
What country?
Alabama.
Alabama.
I don't know if I say it right. Let me check. So the country is called Arab.
Oh, okay.
Arab. That country is in Africa. Anyway, this country, they don't have freedom at all, and they are more like restrict the freedom of speech or the freedom of the I don't know how to explain that. But anyway, Americans won't let the media to just report a lot of things about that because they are friends. Arab is a good friend to America because they support America and have the gasoline commercial with America. So the gasoline and the American dollars, they are bundled. They're bundled. So America won't let their good friend to be criticized. Yeah, this.
Yeah, yeah. And China is on the up and up. It's doing better. Its economy is growing, and the United States is afraid that they could be
a threat to America.
Yeah, exactly.
Number one.
So they need to demonize China.
Yeah, and in my view, China and America, they can be enemy, and they can also be friends because in this international world, every country, they are connected, And the Chinese and America as the number 2 and number 1, if they can cooperate with each other, then it's a good thing to the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there is something that you need to fight. That's not all things you can cooperate. Like the company in America and in China, they do the same. They do the same products, like the phone. If Chinese do better, they sell more phone, and the more people buy their phone, then American companies may get a loss. So that's something that they can't cooperate. So their relationship is very complicated. Like some part of the relationship is cooperation, and some part they are just competition.
Mm-hmm.
And the things happen in Hong Kong. I'm saying Americans maybe they know these things and they say support Hong Kong. But if you support Hong Kong, you can go there and fight with Chinese government. I bet most of them won't go because talk is cheap. Everybody can talk about that. But I think most Americans they don't know the whole thing of this what happened in Hong Kong. They just see what media gives you, like what I did in China when I was young, and all the information I got just from the media, through the TV, not even on the internet, because when I was young, the internet was not very developed. From people around me. So before you go to another country, I mean, left your homeland, the world is not complete. The world you know is not complete. So I suggest, even if you can't go abroad, you can also try to look for some other voice. Like if, according to something, you only hear one voice, I think it's a signal of dangerous.
Do you feel like that maybe they're using this Hong Kong thing as a way to start another war? Because it would be a good excuse. We're helping Hong Kong become free, and that's what we're fighting this war for.
No, that's where I think that's Hong Kong protesters are ridiculous. They think America will fight with China because of Hong Kong. Actually, no, definitely no. China and America will never have the hot war. Maybe they will have the cold war, like in economics, the trade war, but they will never fight in military.
I see. So it's kind of like a subtle thing of, well, we're not going to have this huge war where we're fighting each other and bombing each other, but we will start a little fire at Hong Kong and cause you some trouble.
Yeah, make some mess.
Yeah. And it's funny because like you go on Reddit or any of the social media and that's what you see is you see the police shooting people, you see the police beating people, but you've showed me some videos where it's the total opposite. It's the protesters.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you only see something, they only have one opinion, then maybe it's a signal of dangerous. That's because everything has two opposites. Like if you see some people, they are arguing, and if you only hear one of them, then you will think this guy is innocent, this guy is right, and another guy is bad. But only after you hear from another guy, you will see the whole things. So I suggest the friend in America try to I don't know, these things is where can you see the fair report of the things in Hong Kong, because the most video reported in Chinese, they are like support China, but most people they shot in English, they support Hong Kong. So, yes.
I think people hop on the support Hong Kong train because, I mean, we've already kind of talked about this, but it's against communism. And it's really easy to say, oh, they're fighting for freedom. We have to support them. But there is a certain part about it to me that I like the freedoms that we do have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a communist government would necessarily be the right choice, because we've talked about some of these like censorship issues and the internet being blocked and certain websites and stuff. And is that the kind of world that we want to live in, where information is blocked like that? But you did make a good point in the beginning that it's almost like when you were younger and you didn't know a lot, you could just say whatever you wanted on the internet, and you're not educated enough to know the true reality of the situation. And it's almost like your parents saying, hey, no, you probably shouldn't be posting that. But from my point of view, I don't want the government to be my parents.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I hope China in future they have more and more freedom on the speech and the media. Yeah, that's what I like in the other country. Like they have the freedom, like let the citizens they can express themselves. But in China, it's not as strict as you think about it, because you can talk about some political things in some forum, and not that kind of strict. They will delete everything you said.
Or even look at it here in the United States, where there is the freedom of speech, and then you get a bunch of fake news.
Yeah.
And it just gets so convoluted, you don't even know what's true and what's what.
Yeah, correct. You got a good point. If the freedom is you report something, you just report part of something, and you don't report the whole thing, then people will have the wrong opinion of that, because you deduce them to believe something. That's not a real freedom. So I think China and America, these two countries, also have a long way to improve themselves.
Yeah, it would be nice to see a unity between them.
Unity.
It would be nice to see China and the United States play fair with each other.
Play fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're watching the history.
Yeah. Because it almost seems like this is being started. This is all being run by money. And China has things that the United States needs, and the United States has things that the Chinese need. And if we could work out something fair, then we could all benefit from it.
Oh, you said play fair.
Yeah, not play with fire. That's what we're doing now, we're playing with fire. Which is the reason why we're making this video, because we've seen that video of that protester starting that man on fire.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been following Hong Kong on Reddit, and I see all these videos of the police shooting people and pepper spraying people and, you know, beating people with their batons, and there's just so much of that. And then you showed me this video, and then you not only that video but other videos as well of what the protesters are doing. Like, they're just going someplace and just destroying everything. It feels like they're just a bunch of young kids that don't really know what's going on, and they just want to be involved with something.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to be involved. Yeah, they even let the children in elementary school to help them. Like they let the students in elementary school, they hands hold hands and have some sign like support Hong Kong or something. They don't even know what they're supporting for.
I think the majority of people that would watch this video are going to be pro Hong Kong. And I think the main idea in their head, and they probably are far more educated on it than I am, about the Chinese government being restrictive. I don't really. There's just something about communism that doesn't resonate with me well. But I totally understand what you're saying, because we say we have freedom here in the United States, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that aren't really free, I guess, in a way. Or they're so free that everything gets convoluted, like the news.
Yeah.
What is it that, I mean, you probably know, what is it that the Chinese government does that people are so against? Because I know, like, you're not allowed to say things about the leader on the internet.
Yeah.
You can't watch porn. You can't have Google.
Actually, the second one is allowed. You can watch porn. But in some tricky way.
Yeah, you have to use a VPN.
Let me think. I didn't use VPN, but I can also.
Well, I think, because you've said this before, that you have these freedoms, but they make it difficult for you to do it. And I see it as well. Like, I think porn is really detrimental to the society. It's not good for people's brains. But then again, it's not the government's choice to make that decision for me.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
I agree.
The same thing with drugs. And I got a call on my phone, and my phone fell off. Where were we? With
about the porn and drugs.
porn and drugs.
Yeah, I agree with you that porn should not be managed by government.
I think the same thing with drugs.
The difference is porn is something that affects you. You can't use porn to make some bad things to other people. But drugs is different. The drugs maybe will.
Can you though? I feel like you can't. I feel like it's the same thing.
No, tons of people they sell their house, they sell their wife, sell their house, sell their wife to buy drugs.
What about gambling?
Yeah, the same thing.
So, and that's what I'm trying to make a point of is, like in the United States, being a free place, but there's certain restrictions on drugs and places that you can gamble and those kinds of things.
Let me put it straight. Gamble and drugs, they are, as a man, you definitely have the freedom to choose to have them, but not in society. Let's assume everyone is rational in a society, then I think the law can be can get rid of the forbidden. Because if the man is rational, he will know he shouldn't sell the house to gamble or to have drugs. Maybe they will just have the perfect amount of drugs, or they know what drugs can they have or what drugs they can't touch.
Or how much they can gamble away.
Yeah. That's the assumption that everyone is rational and educated. But the reality is a lot of people are just stupid.
Yeah.
And the education in China is still very low, in a very still low level. And they are just like a child, maybe worse than a child. They can't make the good decision for themselves. And that's fine with us. If you can't make decision with yourself, you will just mess up your own life. But as a government who dominate or manage the society, they don't want to see the big scale of the people they are dedicated in drugs or gambling, because that's a bad thing for the whole society. That's a bad thing for Chinese people or for their own profit. So they won't let these things happen.
Yeah, it seems like people would be able to use their common sense, but a lot of people don't have common sense.
Yeah, like the sink thrower.
The sink thrower?
Yeah, the guy you met in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Common sense.
I was in the bathroom one time and this guy washed his hands. He took a piece of paper towel, dried his hands, and crinkled it up and just threw it in the sink and walked out. Right here in these offices. Yeah, I still think it's their freedom, whether they're educated or not. And how do you know if someone's educated enough to make that decision for themselves?
Because decades years ago, there are only like 12% people or less people in China they know how to write. They know the character. And the rest of them, they just don't know the characters. They can only say something but not write something.
Yeah, but still, being able to write and to do math and all of that stuff, I still don't feel like that marks your decision making or your intelligence, I guess, in a way.
I think that that's kind of a mark. Like the one graduated from the college, they have the certification but maybe they won't be better than someone never went into college.
But you might get somebody who doesn't know how to read and write, but has a really good heart, and they make good decisions. And you might get somebody who went through college and has a master's degree, but doesn't have any common sense, and they make bad decisions. So it's hard to tell like where this mark is, and I don't know if the government should be the ones saying, oh, you have to reach this level of education before you're allowed to make these choices for yourself.
Yeah, just as you said, this is hard to judge. It's hard to specify which one is rational and educated. They can make their own decision. So that's the meaning of law. Like things are complicated. You can, as a judge, you need to guys are fighting each other, and if you don't have a law, you need to judge these whole things from your own opinion, from your own experience, and you listen to this guy, you listen to that guy, and you just make the decision according to your own balance, but not the law. I think it's unfair. I think it's fair. We need something right on the documents that's saying what should we do in this situation and what we should do in other situations. That's the meaning of law, and that's the regulation of society.
I don't know if I agree with that. I heard this one story that when the Romans started putting all of their laws into writing, I forget which group went to them, but they said, don't do that, because once you start putting laws into words, people will try to find every way around it. And you notice that with like lawyers and laws and courts and stuff, people will say, what did they really mean when they wrote that law? And they say, well, they didn't mean this. Or they'll say, oh, we can find a way around it by doing this. Mm-hmm. And people, you know what I mean? And then,
yeah, I know what you mean.
And then people don't use their common sense.
Yeah, I think that's because the law is still not completed. Like I said, even in programming, the most simple phase has the most complicated backend. So if people think that way, this law has the flaws, and they can use these flaws to make something to bring them profit. That's because of the incomplete of the law. So we need to make it better and better, just like coding. If we didn't tell the computer how to do that, then maybe it will do wrong. If we think about all the situations, we use tons of if, or we make a good switch method, we include all the situations, then it will always give us the right answer.
Until that one hacker finds that one bug. You can never be perfect. It will never be totally perfect. There's always a little something, and that's the way with reality too, in law.
Yeah, but you can never be perfect, but you can always be better.
Yes, but if you got rid of it and you just allowed people to be free, then they would have to use their common sense.
The problem is not everyone has common sense.
I know. This is the predicament, huh?
Yeah. So we definitely need law to restrict something.
Yeah, that's a hard one, because especially when people are run by money and greed,
Mm.
People will try to do everything to get more. I foresee a future where we don't impede technology, because I feel like we have the technology and the resources to allow everyone to be financially free, and the machines can do all the work. Not all of it. There's still going to be things that humans need to do, but for the vast majority of people, there's going to be a lot of free time. And one of the problems that I think we'll run into is people always want to be better than somebody else. They're always trying to one-up each other.
Mm. If you can be better than someone else in reality, you can be better than someone else in the game.
Yeah.
I think in the future, game will be the #1 time killer program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or virtual reality.
Mm. Yeah, when people have spare time, they want to do something.
Yeah, for sure. I see that too. But there are some people that just won't do anything. Or I guess necessarily they won't do anything that maybe somebody else wouldn't see as productive. Some people would say, "Oh, you just play video games? Like that's not productive."
Mm.
But to somebody else, like that is something. It's a viable skill that they're working on.
Mm.
Yeah, I see that too. Where if we free ourselves up from the concept of money, it will allow us to have this time to focus on things that we really enjoy doing.
Mm.
You know, I could work on programs that are interesting to me more often, or I could go surfing, or I mean, you know, maybe the first couple of weeks you just want to, you know, watch TV and drink beer, but after a while you want to do something with your mind.
Mm.
I think we kind of got off topic of Hong Kong.
Yeah. I guess that's it.
What do you, just about it.
Wow.
You've lived in China.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the government? Because you've also lived here in the United States.
The Chinese government.
Don't worry, they're not listening right now.
They have advantages and disadvantages. Let's say advantages first. They are making great progress these years. I can tell that from the change of my life quality. Like when I was a student in primary school, I was sent by my father, and he was riding a bicycle to send me and got me from the school. But right now we live in a bigger house, and my father has a car. And we became richer. That's most of the part is because they work hard and they save money. but and that's some part is because of the government they doing the good policy.
Do you feel like your family has had an advantage though? Or do you see everyone around you
Yeah, everybody is living
a better life?
better life. Yeah.
Because from my viewpoint, I mean, I don't really call it because I don't.
I mean, maybe the government did less effective in this this improvement. The most part is because of the huge amount of people in China, which we call the population revenue, because we have 1.3 billion people. 1.3 billion people. That's a huge market, and that's the reason stimulate the China to be war factory. Like everything is produced in China because we have tons of people, and the cost per person is very cheap. So making things in China is cheap. Can you see that reason?
Mm-hmm.
Because
why does it cost less in China though? Is it because of unfair wages?
that's because the most population in the world. Because if I say you need to pay me $10 1 hour, and there's only me, so I can give you the price. So if you don't pay $10 for me, I will not work. But if there are 30 times of me, like there are 30 person, if I say $10, and another man who said you only need to give me $9, and another guy will say you only give me $5, or you can only give me the money that I can survive. I can buy my own food. That's enough. So that competition makes the cost per person is very cheap in China. You can see that.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah, and
What I'm thinking, I've heard those stories about people that are kind of like trapped in these factories, and they have these nets around the factories, and they don't want to work there, and they're not getting paid very much, and they live in really bad conditions.
yeah, they were living a hard life, but that was their own choice. They need to pay for the bill. They need to hold their family. They didn't have much choice. Yeah, people in China, they used to live a very hard life. That's what we need to admit.
But isn't that now still? It's like that?
I don't know.
Because wasn't there people that were receiving packages here in the United States, and in the packages, sometimes underneath stuff, there'd be little notes that people from those factories would write that was kind of like, help us.
What?
You've never heard of that?
No. Help us.
Yeah, we're kind of like, we're trapped in this factory.
I think it's kind of like a story that America made.
Propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard someone they suicide from the Chinese factory.
But the same thing here in the United States.
Yeah, because the big pressure. I can see now Chinese young men, they are in a very high pressure right now because the competition is just too big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's 13 people.
Yeah. And what Chinese government done, it did a good thing, is to let them do that. We don't need to plan economics for them, because before the 1978, the Chinese government is like planning everything for the companies or for people. They plan for next year. You need to plan how many rolls or how many bottles should you produce. It used to be the planned economics, and the reality proved that this is not a good way for development. And the leader at that time, Deng Xiaoping, which was a great leader, he decided to open China to the world, open this market, and let the company develop themselves, which makes a very bloom of economics in China. So the government did the right thing, is to let them do by themselves.
Oh, instead of the government controlling the factories,
Yeah,
letting there be a free market.
yeah, free market. And the Chinese first leader, Chairman Mao, do you know that? Do you know him?
Heard of, but
Yeah, he's a very complicated man. He used to lead the communism to create China, this country. It's like the CEO.
of China?
Yeah. Like if without him, there won't be the success of the communism in China. So it's a number one person in communism. The first leader, Chairman Mao Zedong.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good man to fight wars. His thoughts was very advanced of the whole world in military, but he didn't know how to manage a whole country. He made so many bad decisions, like make steals. He used to want to exceed British and America in steels.
Steel production?
Yeah, steel production. And at that time, according to China's ability of production, that's impossible. So some people, they just put their tools made by steel back to factory to make new to produce new steel, which was ridiculous. They just want to look at a good number of the production of steel. They want to see the number.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's just like a cheating.
Same thing with like money. I feel like
GDP.
yeah, it's just a number, and we have the technology and the resources to take care of everyone, and allow everyone to have financial freedom, or maybe not even financial freedom, but just freedom to enjoy their life, because we have machines now to do the work for us, but it's impeded by this number, this goofy little number that we. one of the good things that you see in the Chinese government is the quality of life has increased in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Any other positives?
The Chinese respect is higher.
Inspection?
The status.
No.
Because you know, one time in America, the yellow people are dissed so much. When you know the San Francisco gold hot.
What is that?
Gold. Everybody just came to San Francisco and dig gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at that time, the yellow people, like the Chinese people, they were dissed so much, and they made up a character called Fu Manqing. Is like someone in Qing dynasty, and they just ugly him, and the Americans think, oh, Chinese man is just like that. So they have a bad impression of Chinese man.
Racism.
Yeah. Then as China become more and more powerful, and the people they change their views about the Chinese. I think it's a good.
Also, the evolution of the United States as well.
Evolution.
Or
You mean the Lincoln?
no. No, I just feel like that the Chinese government has helped the Chinese people have a higher status, but also the United States, the people within the United States have gone through their own revolution, so their minds have changed as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I agree. Hong Kongese diss everyone, or they can beat anyone they want, but not the white guy. There's a white girl with a golden hair and blue eyes. She just critique those protesters, but nobody dare to touch her or did something to her, because they think foreigners, they have a higher status. That's a very twisted mind, which disgusts me. Because they used to dominate by British, so they think the white men, they have a better, higher status, and they are better than themselves.
So whatever white people say in Hong Kong, the people from Hong Kong take as the truth.
Yeah, you will be safe.
And what about the negatives of the Chinese government?
The negative, as I said, is I don't like their attitude on the media. They also like to tell you all the good news about China we're doing, and tell you what bad things happen in other countries. You know, just like Western media, they don't like to tell your whole thing, and their blog on website, that's what I dislike, and their deletion on movies.
Oh yeah, editing movies.
Yeah, editing movies. They like to cut so many pieces from a movie.
You were telling me that even if a girl wears like a shirt that's a little low,
Yeah.
they'll zoom right into her face.
Yeah. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that's another that's kind of where my point of view is that's the way I see communism.
Mm.
That's the way I understand communism to be. If you're going to let them in to gambling and drugs and what you see on the internet, and they're almost like your parents.
Mm.
And they'll just say, "Oh, you're so uneducated that you wouldn't understand. We need to keep these kinds of things away from you."
Yeah, they like to say the same property. Like the communism represent the most people's property.
Oh, the most people's point of view for property.
Property means profit. Like your money.
Sorry, I guess I don't understand.
They stand for or represent the most people's property. Like if they think like you sometimes you are represented even though you don't want to be represented.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, but no one else can have a better idea of how to handle these making decision things. Because I'm thinking, just like every people, they voting or make decisions that be very ineffective, unproductive.
Yeah, like you were saying, if the government sees something that would benefit everyone, then they can just kind of do it in China.
Maybe not everyone, the majority of people.
The majority.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, here in the United States, I would think that the majority of people would think universal health care would benefit, it would be beneficial to everyone. If you get hurt, you break your leg or whatever, you should be able to go to a doctor and get it fixed and not go into debt because you don't have health insurance or whatever. Same thing with cancer. If you get cancer, you should be allowed to get treatment to a certain extent. There comes a time where you just kind of have to. It is what it is. But that's a whole other subject. I just see that, if I don't have health insurance and I get sick, I might go into debt, and I don't think that's very ethical, and I don't think that's what a lot of people want. and since we have this system set up the way that it's set up now, one person might vote for it, or since we have it set up the way that we have it set up now, they might vote it in 1 year, then they might vote it out, and then it keeps going back and forth, and it never really gets anywhere.
Yeah.
But with the Chinese government, if there's something that's going to benefit the majority of people, the Chinese government can just say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, very effective. But sometimes you need to sacrifice the minority profit.
Like when Obama was in the House, they passed the Obamacare, and then Trump gets into office, and then he pushes it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and Chinese China only has one party, so there won't be any problem about how to make my party last longer on the president. There won't be.
Yeah, I see that too with the two-party system here in the United States. How disruptive that is, and how it really separates the whole country because they're fighting with each other instead of working together. There's this meme I seen the other day. It's just, I'm just trying to, I mean, you probably already know, but I'm just trying to get across to you the ideas and the propaganda that I see. There was a meme that I seen the other day that it was the leader, the Chinese leader right now, and it said, "Yeah, my people have freedom," and then it said, it had freedom written out, freedom, and then you know how in school you usually have F stands for this and R stands for this, and it said F blocked, R blocked, E blocked. But it's not a big thing. It's not like a big but it's kind of like it slowly gets in there in your head, and it makes you think of the Chinese government in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah, it will makes you think they can do blogs on these things. What else they will do?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they will prevent the secret release, and they will just make you disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, something kind of like that.
Or maybe they'll just trap you in a dark room and make you work on something every day, every night.
Yeah.
But the more you talk about it, it seems like the government, what is it to the government if the people don't succeed? It's nothing. It seems like the Chinese government wants the people to succeed. It wants their people to look good. They want them to have a higher status. They want them to live a good life.
Yeah, because as I said, they represent the majority people's profit. So if majority people, they live a better life, the community gets the better money, the profit.
Mm-hmm. But people will watch this video and say, "Oh my gosh, you got brainwashed." You talk to the pro-Chinese government man and you got brainwashed, and now you're pro-communism and you're the devil now.
Yeah. You can say everything that brainwashed, right?
Yeah, you can say everyone's brainwashed.
Mm.
Even here in the United States, even the two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, they'll say, "Oh, the Republicans, they're totally brainwashed." And then, "Oh, the Democrats, they're totally brainwashed."
Yeah, it's like a conversation killer. When you say something like that, you are brainwashed, then it's the end of the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think like the whole Hong Kong thing, I kind of understand it to an extent that they want freedom. The freedom of press, the freedom of speech, freedom to look at whatever they want to on the internet. The same freedoms that we have here in the United States. But at the same time, we're kind of limited here in the United States compared to some other even countries. And I don't really know that much about the Chinese government, or I've never lived in China to even understand what it's like. But you have, you've lived there, you've come here now. That's another thing I wanted to kind of bring up is if China is so good, then why come here?
China, as I said, their competition is too big, so the salary will be low. That's the only reason I stay in America. If Chinese had the same salary as America, I will come back to China immediately.
There's less people here in the United States, and not very many people are getting into positions that are going to be financially successful.
Yeah, definitely. The competition is everywhere. The competition is everywhere.
What do you mean?
I mean, even in America, there are a huge competition.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I think there's 1 million tech jobs out there, but I think there's only like 250,000 people applying to them. There's a surplus of tech jobs, and it's because these people in the United States say, "Oh, I want to be a movie star. I want to be a singer."
You know better than me.
I'm not saying that's everyone, but
yeah, maybe that's a culture difference between America and China. I would say Chinese are more stable. They want a stable life. As long as they have enough food and have a good wife and child, they are satisfied. They're easy to satisfy. And not so much people want to be star or something. Though some people dream about that, but most people they just think very realistic.
I have a meal once enough as a feast. They think, I have this meal, I have enough now. I have enough, and I don't need a surplus. I see maybe the problem here in the United States is everybody thinks they're going to be the next millionaire.
American dream.
The American dream. And we do live in a country where it's possible. It is totally possible for you to do it. But if I owned a huge tech company, I wouldn't need billions of dollars or millions of dollars. I mean, there's some people that say, "Oh, fuck you." No, give me my money. I need it. I need 15 Lamborghinis. I need 12 mansions. But I would be happier with seeing the people around me with the people around me enjoying their time.
Only child made decisions, made choice. Only child made choice. The elder person just want both of them. They want Lamborghini and also want people around you.
Well, I just mean that if you have 15 Lamborghinis and then you drive out your mansion and then there's a bunch of people living on the streets. I would rather just have a basic car, and everybody else has basic cars. I don't need anything extravagant, but that's not how a lot of people think. I know I'm probably the odd guy
You
out.
should be one of the communism. Because that's their ultimate goal, to make everybody wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why they plan for the economics. They just give food to people. You use a ticket to trade some food, but not using money. Because they want everyone don't need more. You just need what you need.
That's why I was really intrigued by Andrew Yang's campaign.
Yeah, that's what communism done in the past decades. But the reality proved that's wrong. That will make the company just stay or go down. You only give the market freedom, will bloom it. Don't plan for the market. You need to make people greedy. You need to make people want more and more. Only people have requirements, it will stimulate the market. And if people just need what they need, then the market will just stop. The factory will be closed.
You're saying, like Andrew Yang's campaign, of if everybody was given a minimum income, if everybody was given $1,000 a month, and they could go live out east and not have to do anything.
Yeah, they don't have the motivation.
They wouldn't want to do anything. I don't see it like that, though.
What do you see? They will give more tips.
I think people would be able to spend their dime doing what they really enjoy. But what am I going to do? Drink beer and watch TV until I die?
All the way. 2 o'clock.
That's our meeting.
You and me?
Yeah.
You made this meeting?
No, it was already on our calendar.
Okay. All right. With Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess. What happened to that? Oh my God! We didn't
No,
shoot.
it's still on.
Any with me? Almost 1 hour.
Okay, so any messages to the people of Hong Kong?
Any message? Your life and your future is upon yourself. It's upon yourself. You are destroying your hometown, your own country. So just stop it. I don't think they will listen to me.